Look into the mirror and tell me, do you see a person or just a reflection of their expectations? Most of you are merely ghosts inhabiting a body that belongs to the collective will. There is a silence that screams within the walls of a crowded room, a void that no laughter can fill. It is the curse of the perceptive, to be utterly visible, yet completely unseen by the blind. You felt it as a child, didn't you? That chilling realization that you were playing a game without rules. While others sought the warmth of the sun, you were busy measuring the depth of the shadows. Your questions were never too many, they were simply too heavy for their fragile, shallow minds to carry. The world demands your submission, not your understanding. Remember that, for it is your first lesson. Arthur Schopenhauer, the patron saint of the misunderstood, knew the exact price of a functioning brain. He was ignored, hated, and unpopular, a small price to pay for the luxury of absolute truth. Society is not a sanctuary. It is a meticulously designed cage for the mediocre to feel safe. To think independently is to commit a crime against the comfort of the herd. Listen closely. Your isolation is not a defect. It is the elite's natural habitat. Intelligence is a surgical blade. It cuts through the illusions that keep the masses sedated and happy. The herd does not move by choice. They move by the vibration of the person standing next to them. They fear the dark because they have never learned how to see without the light of consensus. When you enter a room and see the truth, you become a predator in a world of prey. They don't hate your ideas. They hate that your presence reveals their own intellectual nakedness. The Dunning-Kruger effect is the armor of the ignorant, protecting them from the agony of self-awareness. They overestimate their brilliance because they lack the capacity to even define what brilliance is. Socrates was not executed for corrupting the youth. He was killed for making the powerful feel small. The truth is a poison to those who have built their entire lives on a foundation of lies. Galileo was imprisoned because his telescope saw further than the church's narrow windows. The authorities don't care about facts. They care about the maintenance of their manufactured reality. You are a disruptive frequency in a world that demands a monotonous, predictable hum. They will try to fix you, diagnose you, and label you just to make themselves feel normal again. Observe the way they smile. It's a social contract, a mask glued to a face that has forgotten how to weep. Hypocrisy is the oxygen they breathe. If they were forced to be honest for 1 hour, they would suffocate. A truly intelligent person is a mirror that reflects the ugliness others spend their lives hiding. Do not be surprised when they try to break the mirror instead of fixing their own distorted faces. Isolation is the tax you pay for the privilege of not being an idiot. It is a heavy toll, but the view from the summit is far better than the mud at the bottom. Schopenhauer argued that our will is a blind, restless drive that forces us to survive at any cost. Most people are just puppets of this will, dancing to a rhythm they cannot even hear. To be conscious is to stop dancing. It is to stand still and watch the other puppets jerk and twitch. This stillness is terrifying to them. They call it madness, but you and I know it is clarity. They seek connection because they cannot stand the sound of their own hollow thoughts. Loneliness is only a burden to those who have nothing interesting to say to themselves. The smart man seeks silence, for in silence the noise of the world's stupidity finally fades. You are not antisocial. You are simply pro-reality in a world addicted to fiction. Every social interaction is a negotiation of power, disguised as a polite exchange of words. The moment you stop seeking their approval, you become the most powerful person in the room. They fear your detachment because they cannot control someone who wants nothing from them. Freedom is found in the wreckage of your social life. It is cold, but it is finally yours. History is written by the victors. but the truth is whispered by the exiles in the corners. The herd will always choose a comfortable lie over a devastating truth, every single time. Look at their values. They are just habits wrapped in a flag, meant to keep the cattle in line. You don't need their morality. You need a spine and the courage to look into the abyss. The brain is a weapon, and like any weapon, it must be kept sharp and hidden until it is needed. Do not waste your light on those who prefer to live in the dim glow of their own illusions. There is a divine cruelty in being able to see what others are desperate to ignore. Embrace the coldness of your insight. It is the only thing that will keep you warm in this winter. They will tell you that you are lonely, but loneliness is a lack of others. Solitude is a presence of self. You are more alive in your isolation than they are in their most crowded celebrations. Small talk is the funeral of the intellect. Avoid it if you wish to keep your mind alive. Every "how are you" is a nail in the coffin of a potentially meaningful thought. The world is a stage, but most people are just props, moved around by forces they don't understand. Be the director, or at the very least, be the critic who knows the play is a farce. The price of genius is a permanent sense of being an alien in your own home. But remember, the alien is the only one who can see the planet for what it truly is. Your suffering is the birth pangs of a higher consciousness. Do not seek to numb the pain. Pain is the only thing that reminds you that you haven't been swallowed by the collective coma. The herd loves a martyr, but they despise a survivor who refuses to join their misery. Be the one who survives, the one who watches, the one who understands the mechanism of the trap. Society's etiquette often feels less like guidance and more like a quiet restraint that keeps people from facing uncomfortable truths. Sometimes breaking away from it leaves marks behind, but at least it allows you to move with honesty and freedom. They talk about humanity while behaving like insects, scurrying toward the brightest light. True humanity is found in the dark, where the individual is forced to define themselves. The truly intelligent do not lead, they observe from a distance, knowing that leadership is just a fancy form of slavery. The king is as much a prisoner of the crown as the peasant is of the plough. Knowledge is not power. The application of hidden knowledge is power. Keep your secrets close, for they are the only currency that never loses its value. Trust no one who seeks the limelight. The most dangerous and brilliant things happen in the shadows. The sun blinds you, but the darkness allows you to see the stars for what they are. They will call you cynical when you are merely being observant. Cynicism is just what the delusional call the truth when they aren't ready to hear it. The world is a factory of disappointment, designed to exhaust your spirit until you settle for less. Never settle. It is better to starve as a wolf than to grow fat as a house dog. Most conversations are just people waiting for their turn to talk about themselves. Listen to what they don't say. That is where their real intentions are buried. Friendship is often just a mutual agreement to ignore each other's flaws for the sake of company. True connection is rare and terrifying, for it requires two people to stand naked in their truths. The masses are moved by emotion, not logic. If you want to control them, speak to their fears. If you want to free yourself, understand your own fears before they become your masters. The concept of normal is a statistical average of the mediocre. Do not aim for it. To be normal is to be a ghost in a machine that is slowly grinding itself to dust. Education is often just the process of trimming your mind until it fits into a pre-made slot. True learning begins when you throw away the syllabus and start exploring the forbidden archives. They fear the quiet person because they cannot predict what is happening behind that silence. Silence is a fortress. Build it high and keep the gate locked until you decide who is worthy. The greatest trick the world ever played was convincing you that you needed to be understood. You don't need understanding. You need results and the quiet satisfaction of knowing you were right. They will mock what they cannot grasp. It is a defense mechanism for their fragile egos. Let them laugh. Their laughter is the applause of the condemned who don't know the end is near. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. But remember, no price is too high to pay for the ownership of your own soul. Reality is a hallucination we all agree upon, but the intelligent person sees the cracks in the walls. Don't try to fix the cracks. Use them to escape into the world as it actually exists. The twist? You think you are the one suffering, but it is they who are truly lost. They are prisoners of a dream they didn't choose, while you are awake in a nightmare you can control. Most people spend their lives avoiding themselves. They use work, sex, and noise as distractions. You have the courage to sit in a dark room alone. That is your greatest advantage. Society tells you to be yourself, but they only mean the version of yourself that they can sell. Be the version of yourself that makes them uncomfortable. That is where your true power lies. Authority is a costume. Strip away the title and the uniform, and you find a frightened child. Never be intimidated by a suit. Look for the eyes behind the mask. The world doesn't want you to be smart. It wants you to be efficient and compliant. Efficiency is for machines. Intelligence is for those who wish to transcend the mechanical. Every social norm is a fence. Some are there for your safety, others are there for their control. Learn to tell the difference and never be afraid to jump the fence when the grass is greener on the other side. Compassion is often just a mask for self-interest. We help others to feel better about our own selfishness. Be honest about your motives, and you will be miles ahead of the saints and the heroes. The herd will always choose security over liberty, even if that security is a well-lit prison. You must choose the dangerous freedom of the unknown over the safe slavery of the familiar. Your mind is the only territory that is truly yours. Defend it with everything you have. Do not let them plant their flags in your thoughts or build their cities in your imagination. History is a slaughterhouse of ideas, and only the most ruthless and adaptable survive. Be an idea that cannot be killed, a thought that persists long after the thinker is gone. They call it pessimism because they are afraid of the weight of the truth. I call it realism because I refuse to walk into a wall just because someone told me it was a door. The social ladder is a treadmill. You work harder and harder just to stay in the same place. Step off the treadmill and walk in your own direction. The ground is more solid there. True power is the ability to say no to things that everyone else is saying yes to. It is the most difficult word in the language, but it is the only one that can save you. Do not seek to fit in. The pieces that fit in are the ones that get used to build something else. Be the piece that doesn't fit, the one that remains whole and independent. The world is full of experts who are just people who have memorized the same lies as everyone else. Trust your own eyes and your own instincts. They are the only tools that aren't compromised. Every community is a compromise. You trade a piece of yourself for the feeling of belonging. Ask yourself, is the feeling worth the price? Often, the answer is a resounding no. Be like the tiger, not the sheep. The tiger is solitary, but it is never lonely. The sheep is always with the flock, yet it is always afraid. Your intelligence is a fire. It can warm you in the cold, or it can burn everything down. Learn to control the flame, for a fire without a master is just a disaster in waiting. The masses want bread and circuses. They want to be fed and entertained while they rot. You want truth and autonomy. You want to be awake while you live. The struggle is constant, but the reward is a life that is actually yours. Most people are just living out a script written by dead men and dying institutions. Burn the script and write your own lines. The audience might hate it, but they won't be able to look away. You are the protagonist of a tragedy they are too cowardly to even watch. Social media is a panopticon where we are both the prisoners and the guards. Escape the digital cell and find the reality that exists beyond the glow of the screen. They want your attention because it is the only thing of value you have left. Starve them of your attention and watch how quickly their influence withers and dies.
The world is a vampire, sucking the life out of everything that is unique and vibrant.
Be toxic to the vampire. Be something that they cannot swallow without choking. There is a profound beauty in the wreckage of a life lived on one's own terms. It is better to be a broken masterpiece than a perfect, mass-produced toy. The herd fears the unknown, but the intelligent man knows that the unknown is where growth lives. Embrace the chaos, for it is the only thing that is truly fertile. They talk about peace while they prepare for war. They talk about love while they practice hate. See through the rhetoric and look at the actions. That is where the truth is hidden. You are a sovereign nation of one. Recognize no authority that you did not choose. The only laws that matter are the ones that you have tested and found to be true. The world will try to break you, and it will likely succeed in some ways. But what is broken can be forged into something harder and sharper than before. Do not fear the end, for everything that has a beginning must also have a conclusion. Fear a life that never truly began, a life spent waiting for permission that was never coming. The good life is a trap. It is a gilded cage designed to keep you from seeking the great life. The great life is difficult, lonely, and uncertain, and it is the only one worth living. Be the question that has no answer, the puzzle that cannot be solved. Keep them guessing, for as long as they are guessing, they cannot categorize and control you. They will tell you that you are selfish, and they are right, but so are they. The only difference is that you have the honesty to admit it, while they hide behind altruism. The social contract is a scam. You give up your power for a security that doesn't exist. Rip up the contract and take back your power. It was always yours to begin with. The world is a desert, and you are the only one who knows where the water is hidden. Do not tell the others. They will only pollute the well and fight over the scraps. Intelligence is the ultimate predator. It sees through every disguise and every lie. Use it wisely, for with great sight comes the great responsibility of not going blind yourself. They want you to be happy, because happy people don't ask difficult questions. Be miserable if you have to, but be aware. Awareness is far more valuable than contentment. The truth is a lonely road, but it is the only one that doesn't lead back to where you started. Keep walking, even when your feet are bleeding and the stars have gone out. Your mind is a cathedral. Do not let the tourists and the merchants desecrate it. Keep it sacred, keep it quiet, and keep it for those who know how to pray in the dark. The world is full of noise, but the intelligent man hears the music underneath. It is a dark, complex melody, but it is the most beautiful thing you will ever hear. Be the storm, not the leaf blown by it. Be the force that changes the landscape. It is better to be feared for your power than pitied for your weakness. Society is a machine for grinding down the edges of the individual until they are smooth and round. Keep your sharp edges. They are the only things that will allow you to cut your way out. The masses are asleep, dreaming of a world that doesn't exist. You are the alarm clock, and they will hate you for waking them up from their comfortable slumber. Do not seek validation. It is just a polite word for permission from the incompetent. The only validation you need is the reality of your own achievements and the clarity of your own mind. Every relationship is a mirror. Most people don't like what they see, so they blame the mirror. Be the mirror that never lies, even when it is painful to look at. The world is a game of chess, but most people are playing checkers. Think 10 steps ahead and watch as they move their pieces into your traps. There is no meaning to life except the one you create with your own hands and your own mind. Stop looking for a sign and start building the world you want to live in. They will call you cold because you refuse to be warmed by their artificial fires. I am cold because I have seen the ice at the heart of the universe, and I am not afraid. The herd will eventually fall over the cliff. Do not be there to witness the fall. Find your own path, even if it leads through the thickest forest and the highest mountains. Your journey is yours alone. Do not expect anyone to understand or to follow. The elite are few, the mediocre are many. Choose your side and live with the consequences. The abyss is waiting, but do not look away. It is the only thing that will never lie to you. Subscribe if you dare to see the truth, or stay in the light and remain blind.